Da-na-na-na-na. XMen are coming to the MCU. Have they found their rogue? Hello everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're looking forward to the X-Men entering the MCU and to all that stuff, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to talk about it, discuss it with you right here on the channel. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on X-Men coming into the MCU. What do you want to see? What do you hope to avoid? All that fun stuff there. Today I want to talk a little bit about some rumors, some theories, some leaks, and not leaks, and some casting choices that are coming. First off, a few months ago, Daniel RPK, Scooper Daniel RPK kind of hinted at Mr. Sinister might be the villain in the new X-Men movie, which I think is absolutely perfect casting. That would be just ideal, or casting, perfect character villain for them to have. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But now, one thing I want to talk about, also from Daniel RPK, is that the MCU is looking to cast Ana de Armas in a major MCU role. Fans online are all ablaze and speculating what they want. She's just coming off of Ballerina, which was not very successful. She's an Academy Award-winning actress, and people are now pointing her in the direction of possibly playing Rogue in X-Men. And I saw that, and I've seen quite a few outlets now reporting on it, discussing her as Rogue and whatnot. And I gotta be honest with you, just off the bat, I don't see that happening for several reasons. One, I don't think she could pull off the Southern accent. And Anna Paquin was fine as Rogue, but her Southern accent, let's get a Southern Rogue for real, right? That's what I want. But Ana de Armas, the other thing too is we keep hearing that they're going to use no-name actors. They're going to get younger talent to play the roles so that they don't have to pay them as much, keep the cost down. You bring Ana de Armas in as Rogue, which, by the way, she's also probably too old to play Rogue at this point. I don't know. You probably want somebody in their 20s, early 20s to play the part of Rogue. I don't know. I would also get Gambit and Wolverine going. Like, get Gambit in there. Let's figure that out. Because I just think, like, her name should cost too much. I think they're looking for her to play a significant role in the MCU. I do believe that. I just don't believe it's going to be in the X-Men franchise. I don't know what it would be, what it could be. I think she might be a fun villain. She could actually have fun being a villain. I could see that happening. I'm not quite sure where they would go. But for me, again, the Mr. Sinister thing from a while ago really makes a lot of sense to me, because if you're making an X-Men movie, just use the X-Men animated series as your basis. I mean, you can use the comics as your basis, but the X-Men series back in the 90s was excellent. And then what they did with X-Men 97 was exceptional. Like, how do you not look at that blueprint and go, maybe we should just make this live action? There's a lot of things in there that would be hard to pull off, obviously, in live action, but I think you can really make it work and just go for it. And I think using that, I mean, look, I'm not saying if you recreate it, you're going to pull a lot of people away, and I wouldn't suggest that. But I just think you have bases there, but like the comics are so rich. The problem with comics and doing comic book movies is like now the history is so vast and so long and so populated with stories that there's so much you could do that there's almost too many there's too many choices to make. There's too many things to pick and choose from. Whereas the animated series, they did things well. Like they've tried to do the Phoenix Saga twice in movies, and they failed miserably both times. I thought the last time they did it, I was like, well, this one's going to be good because we saw them fail at it before. And it wasn't. It might have been worse. I was like, why do you feel the need to push these things forward? You know how to do the story. We saw you do the story several times. An arc, on an animated show arc, we saw you do it several times. So it just blows my mind that they haven't figured this out. And look, I've liked most of the X-Men movies. It's such a strange franchise, the X-Men films, because the X-Men. I remember seeing X-Men 1 in the theater, sitting there, and my friends just hated it. Like, everybody was a fan of the animated series. But that movie, my friends hated it at the time. My friends hated that movie. They're like, that's not X-Men. That's not what we wanted. The X2, I think they picked it up and they felt a little bit more like, okay, this is my X-Men. And X3 was X3. And Days of Future Past is fantastic, and obviously First Class. And they've had like some really solid movies. But for me, again, like, you see Deadpool and Wolverine earning $1 billion. And you say, is that because it's Deadpool and Wolverine? Or is that because it's Deadpool and Wolverine looking like damn Wolverine, and we're all getting the Wolverine that we've wanted Hugh Jackman to play for eons? And speaking of Hugh Jackman, obviously a bunch of the X-Men are coming back into Doomsday. How do you recast Wolverine? Do you get a younger actor to portray the character now? in this, or do you leave Wolverine out of the original, the new, how do you describe the new MCU X-Men? Do you just leave Wolverine, place him aside, set him at the door, and go on this adventure without that character for now? And then when you've kind of got your feet wet and you figured out what this new iteration of these characters are, then you can weave in Wolverine. Because I think Wolverine, for whether it's a writer or just a character, whatever happens is when Wolverine is placed into something, he overtakes it. Like Wolverine is the most interesting character when it comes in. And now I'm not saying he's everyone's favorite character. That's not what I'm saying. But for whatever reason, they've done this in the past where Wolverine, the live action, when he shows up, he's the one that the writers and everyone kind of focuses on. Like the focus all gets drawn on Wolverine. It's kind of like when Star Wars was making episode 7 before everybody hated it. The writer Michael Arndt was saying, once Luke Skywalker got on the page, he sucked all the air out of it. Everything, all the focus was on him. You couldn't focus on anybody else. And that's kind of how this whole Wolverine thing feels to me. It's like once you focus on Wolverine, they seem to like everyone else is like a second fiddle to him. And there's a balancing act for sure. And I think the right writer could come in and do it also. You have to separate yourself from the characters and from the movie itself and just be looking at it and saying, you know what, this is the lore, this is the storyline, this is what we got to do. Because in comics, they balance them out pretty well. But Wolverine's Wolverine. Most people love Wolverine. That's just an absolute fact. That's just what it is. People love him. But I'm really curious to see what they do with the costumes. Like I loved what they did with the Fantastic Four costumes. I think Marvel now, after Fantastic Four, I know it's not doing the $1 billion that people were speculating it would, or were not speculating, but hoping it would, and people are saying it's kind of a failure now. I don't think it's a failure. It's gonna make its money. It's gonna make good money at the worldwide box office at that. But what it did was it showcased how Marvel is getting their groove back. How people felt like Marvel was kind of slipping off the hill, and now they're Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 2, and they're climbing themselves back up that hill. Solo style, like they figured it out. They hopefully have figured it out. Hopefully the next few movies that we get are all like really good. I mean, all the stuff you're seeing from Spider-Man Brand New Day is just unbelievable looking. Like every time I see something from this movie, I'm like, it can't come out soon enough. He looks like Spider-Man. He's hanging out. Just they're really trying to turn a corner on Spider-Man and showcasing like this is the Spider-Man that you wanted to see all these years. And now I think Tom Holland now, he might be the definitive Spider-Man after Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, but I think Tom Holland is the one that people are going to say, you know what? Yeah, it was Tom Holland all along. It could be wrong. But that's the way I see it right now. But Ana de Armas in the MCU, I just don't see that happening. I see it happening in the MCU, maybe as a villain, or maybe like a Rogue, someone like that. But or not Rogue, as Mystique. But Rogue, I just don't see Rogue happening. I just cannot place her as Rogue. I could see you get the headshot, you're like Rogue. I could see that, but just who she is, what she is, and her acting style, I just don't think it matches with Rogue. And I think they'd be underserving the character if they cast, and the actress. They'd be underserving both of them if they cast Ana de Armas as Rogue when there are other roles that I think she could pull off better, and we would all believe a lot more. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.